Welcome to Hit the Mark, a podcast presented by CK Magic Sports, who along with Man and Dog Productions, we are the first in sports education.
Welcome back to our greatest championship series version of Hit the Mark. With us, we have our special guest, Mark Simon of ESPN, to kind of run us through some of these memories of these great championship series. Mark, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
So, Mark, what would you say are the top five, in your opinion, league championship series, both in the American League and National League?
I think it starts with a couple of years. 1980 National League certainly would be up there. The two 1986s, both the National League and the American League. 2004 is a really good one, the Astros and the Cardinals. It's funny that the Astros find their way into 80, 86, and 2004.
Yeah, and they lost all of them. Yep.
And then I think you got to include one of the 70s Yankees-Royals ones, right? Because those are, you had back-to-back epics of 5 games each, and in both series, the Yankees won the game that clinched the series in the ninth inning with once with a comeback and once on Chambliss's home run.
Yep.
So I think that's got to be in there. And then, 80 predates me by about a year or two. So I consider that a little bit before I was born. I consider 70s, or before I was born as a baseball fan. Same for the 70s Yankees and Royals. Mm-hmm. But also early 70s, there's certainly some really good ones. You had a couple of years in a row where both series went 5 games. I know you like 72, so you could definitely put that on the list. So I don't know that I have a specific order, but I would put 80 and 86 as the two top ones.
I know a lot of people like to mention 92 Braves Pirates overall. I know 91 was good as well, but 92 when the Braves rallied for 3 runs in the ninth inning.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold that against anyone if they put that on their list.
Right, I know. And then, of course, somewhere along the line, I guess you need to put the Red Sox coming back from 3-0 down to beat the Yankees in 2004.
Yeah, in fairness, though, were the first 3 games of that series really that great? Games 4 and 5 were. Game 6 has the dramatic moment of the bloody sock stuff,
right?
But it wasn't necessarily. People don't remember what happened in the game. And Game 7 was a destruction.
Right. Yeah. I mean, most of these consider Game 7 have an exciting type of finish, even if there weren't many great games in the series before that. But you're right. I mean, Games 4 and 5 alone in that series were epics. You see them all the time on Major League Baseball channel or they're all over YouTube. But I know 2003 ALCS is up there too, as far as a great series with Aaron Boone ending it with a walk-off homer. I wonder where you watched the Game 7 of that game. How was that memory?
I can't believe the Red Sox are going to win. I can't believe it. That was you.
I know. One of the few times that I was actually excited to see the Yankees win. I know, but even as far as the championship series this year, 85 ALCS was always one of my favorite series as well.
I think that's fair. You had a couple of really good games in the early part of the series. The Blue Jays comeback or the Royals comeback is not to be offensive to Royals fans, but those 3 games were kind of duds.
Yeah.
The game in that series to remember is the one that I know that, again, I know you've referenced George Brett. Game 3 with basically winning the game by himself. If you ever read Joe Poznanski, he loves to write about that game.
Yeah.
National League that year was pretty good too, with Game 5 with Ozzie Smith never having hit a home run left-handed, hitting one to win, and Jack Clark hitting the game-winning home run in Game 6. That was a very even series between the Cardinals and the Dodgers, and a couple of pitches at the end of the game made the difference in it.
Yep. Now tell me, is there a pitcher in Major League Baseball history who squandered more walk-off hits than Tom Nadenfuer?
Boy. Well, the Jack Clark one's not a walk-off, even though it felt like it.
You're right. I mean, but I should say like game-winning hits.
Well, yeah, we can run that if you want to keep talking.
Well, I know he had one in the 81 divisional series. I believe Nadenfuer had one. against the Astros, I believe.
Okay, against Houston, but the Dodgers managed to win that one anyway.
Yeah, they won that series. Yeah, I think Game 2, Denny Wallen got him. Because I know Game 1, Dave Stewart gave up a walk-off home run to Alan Ashby.
Yep.
I know that he had obviously the Ozzie Smith home run in Game 5. I believe he got...
No one's given up more than 2 walk-off hits. There are a lot of guys with 2.
Okay. And obviously he's one of them.
Yeah, he's one of them. Yeah.
But then you also have the home run he gave up to Jack Clark, and did he get touched up again in that series? Did somebody else touch him up in Game 3?
I would have to look. I don't remember. Just if you want to hear the list: Reardon, Porcello, Eckersley, Tugg, Roberto Hernandez, Jack Bentley, Dan Maselli, Alejandro Pena, Ron Peronoski, Steve Klein, Tom Niedenfuhrer, Clem Levine.
Oh wow. Okay. You know, it's funny. One of my lasting memories in a championship series was one that really was a dud. Was the '87 one between the Tigers and the Twins, and I remember Pat Sheridan hitting a home run off of Jeff Reardon.
Yep.
In the only game that the Tigers won that series.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Alexander couldn't win a game after going 9-0 for them in the regular season.
Yep, 9-0 with a 1.53 ERA after being traded for John Smoltz.
Yep.
And the thing I also remember about that series is Game 5 in the opening intro, they had this whole kind of celebration of Darrell Evans' career.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? Because he got picked off of third base to cost them Game 4 of that series. Do you remember that at all? Yeah. Yeah, it was a big play that would have tied the series, and he was on third base, and I think it was Gaetti snuck up behind him, and Tim Laudner hit him, then he threw him out. And then the Tiger Stadium crowd gave him a standing ovation the next time he came up to plate. A guy that really, in my opinion, he's not a Hall of Famer, but a guy who had a pretty good career.
Pretty decent.
Yeah, Darrell Evans. All right, so let's start with 1980. What were some of the memories about that series? Do you remember it at all, or what things that really stick out to you about that series?
As I said, that predated me, but I've seen the highlights a lot, so I feel like I kind of lived through some of it. The hallmark of the series is Game 5. Each of the last 4 games in the series went extra innings.
Yep.
In a 5-game series, and the other one was 3-1 and was decided by runs that scored in the 6th, and then another run in the 7th. But there's, in Game 5, the fact that Nolan Ryan had a 5-2 lead in the 8th inning, and that he was the guy that the Astros had brought in to get over the top, and he couldn't finish the deal. And it all started with this, was it a walk to Pete Rose, or a little dink hit down the third base line that never should have been a hit.
Yep, Larry Bowa got that.
It goes Bowa single, Boone single, Gross single.
Yep.
Pete Rose walks with the bases loaded. They get a force out, and then a hit to tie, and Manny Trio gets a hit to put them ahead. The Astros score amazingly in the bottom of the 8th to tie it. The Phillies get a great chance in the 9th and can't score. They go extra innings. Gary Maddox, who had previously been a GOAT in the NLCS, because he dropped a ball that led to the Dodgers clinching the pennant. He gets the winning hit, and the Astros go 1-2-3 in their half, and that's the end of the series. There's all sorts of other things, too. There's that triple play that would have been a fascinating replay review.
I remember that.
Circa 2015, where the Astros thought they turned to triple play, and the umpires wound up overruling it. Game 3 is a 1-0 game in 11 innings that the Astros won. People forget, too, that the Astros had the lead in Game 4.
That's right.
And were 6 outs from winning.
That's right.
And couldn't finish it. And wound up losing in extra innings.
The Phillies
poor
scored.
Houston. I wrote a thing, actually, recently about the suffering of the Astros fan. It's baseball torture if you're an Astros fan and your team makes the postseason. Yeah,
I did the same thing. I told you, me and you, we think alike in those efforts. But yeah, I mean, Game 4, the Astros had a 2-run lead in the 8th inning, couldn't hold it, and then they actually tied the game in the bottom of the 9th inning to force extras, and and that was again the city of Houston had never seen their team anywhere near the postseason before that. And, that was a team that couldn't score many runs, but definitely that series, if you ask most people that are baseball historians, they would say that series was one of the best. Now, in 86, you had both the AL and NL. Obviously, we're a little partial to the NL, so we won't really go there. But the American League, that was one series. I remember I was old enough at that point to really be into baseball and know what was going on. And I don't think I'll ever forget where I was when Dave Henderson hit that home run to give them a lead.
I remember watching that.
Yeah.
That was an epic moment, certainly. There's so many interesting things about that inning, too, because they took Mike Witt out with 2 outs in the ninth.
That's
right.
right.
He had a chance to clinch, and he was mad that he got taken out.
Yep.
And they had the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth with the right guys up,
That's
and they
right.
couldn't get the run in.
Doug DeCinces? Yep. He's still, that bat
nobody
still haunts him.
on that team more than him, right?
Yep, that bat still haunts him. Yep.
Yep.
And the thing is, they brought in Gary Lucas to pitch to Rich Gedman.
And he hit him.
Yep, won the first pitch, and Lucas, Witt had that was the only guy that hit Witt hard that day. I think Gedman hit a home run off him, and he hit a ball to the warning track or whatever. So that's why Gene Mark took him out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how, that's our version of over-managing, where he strictly went by the numbers, and now he had nothing else to do. Once Gary Lucas hit him with the pitch, now he's got to go with Donnie Moore.
Yep, yeah. There's a really great book, if you've ever seen it, called One Pitch Away, that I would recommend to anyone that is a fan of, it's a great baseball book. It's a great book if you're a fan of any of the 4 teams that were in that postseason, where he interviewed, 10, 12 years later, he interviewed everyone that was a key participant. And it's this, you mentioned the DeCinces being haunted and all that. It's really interesting.
Yep. The thing about that series, too, is I remember Game 4 in that series, it kind of gave us maybe a look into the psyche of Calvin Schiraldi. I think he hit Brian Downing with the bases loaded to tie the game, and then Bobby Gritz wound up getting the game-winning hit.
I remember, I think my dad made me go to sleep before that game ended.
Memories.
And Game 6 of the NLCS that year, I have a good story. I was forced to go to Hebrew school by my mom, and I left for it in the 7th inning with the Mets down 3-0, and we're in class, and actually, it's funny, there were 2 5th grade classes, and they said, all right, we're going to have the other 5th grade class come over, and in the other 5th grade class is the guy that is currently the Yankee beat writer for the New York Daily News. And,
oh, wow, really?
And, yeah, it's 40 of us sitting in a classroom, and the teacher says, okay, here's the group project. We're going to listen to the 9th inning of the game.
Oh,
so that was pretty awesome.
So you get excited about the 9th inning, but now you're left wondering what's going to happen for the rest of the innings.
Well, the good news was that they dismissed the class, we listened to, I think, the top of the 10th, and then they dismissed the class.
All right, so you were able to get home to listen to the end of the game.
Yes. I watched. The Hebrew school was a block away from my house, so I was able to get home and watch.
The thing I remember about that game, now, I was 12 years old, and it happened on a Wednesday night, I remember, because I had youth group at my church, and we were both involved with religious aspects of that game. And I remember how angry I was when Jesse Orosco allowed the home run to Billy Hatcher. And I remember looking at the replay, that was an absolute bomb.
Yes, absolutely. And who's one of the first guys that greets Billy Hatcher in the Astros dugout? I always thought this was kind of cool.
Who, Terry Poole? Oh, really? Oh, that's right. He was a coach on that team. That's right.
And he's got this grin on his face, I told you it ain't over till it's over.
I think the Astros honestly just had him for some good luck charm. Figure if we have Yogi Berra, we can't lose.
Yep.
And anything but the Astros have been a good luck charm, because not only 1980 we have 1986, but 2004. What do you remember about that series?
2004, you have the back-to-back Game 5 and Game 6, which is Jeff Kent hitting the game-winning home run in Game 5, and Jim Edmonds hitting the game-winning home run in Game 6. Both were walk-offs. I think is Game 5 the one where Brandon Backey has the one hitter for most of the game?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, who the heck is Brandon Backey?
Yep.
The thing that was cool about that is that those were the Astros of Clemens and Oswalt. But
Yep.
Brandon Backey was like their best postseason pitcher.
Yep.
And I remember that. And then in Game 7, Clemens has a 2-0 lead, and boy, isn't it a shame he blew it. And
Yeah.
Scott Rowland.
I know. So it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, right?
Scott Rowland hit a game-winning home run in like the 6th inning, and that was the year that Beltran had the insane postseason. So there was like this expectation that he was going to somehow win the game for them. But,
Yeah, and
he didn't.
And that got him his master contract with the Mets.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, what do you think of Daniel Murphy? Do you think that his postseason is something that is going to be indicative of what the type of hitter he's becoming? Or do you think it's just a good run of luck that he's had with this power surge he's had?
No, I think the only way that it's indicative of the hitter that he's becoming is if he was to go to a ballpark that is very conducive to hitting home runs, like a Yankee Stadium, which I read something today that seemed to indicate that wasn't in the plans. But I think he's more a spray hitter, a line drive hitter. I think his best spot would be somewhere like Oakland, which has big gaps in the outfield, where he could hit a lot of doubles, and where ideally for him he could DH, because I don't think he's equipped to play the field in terms of his skill sets.
Right.
People are acting all surprised, but stuff like this happens all the time. Like, even in Met history, I just wrote this. If you go back through Met history, it's been second baseman all throughout. 1969, it was Al Weiss and Ken Boswell.
Kenny Boswell, yeah, he had a great championship series.
In 1986, Wally Backman hit .333 in the World Series and scored 5 runs. Yeah. Alfonso was basically the MVP of the 2000 NLCS and hit a game-winning home run off the Diamondbacks in Game 1 of the division series.
Yeah, Bobby Chenard, I remember.
I guess I'm sort of surprised. It's great when it happens to your guys, but this is what happens. Craig Counsell was an MVP. David Eckstein was an MVP. There's certainly many worse players than Daniel Murphy who got hot for 10 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's something that, this is what happens. In postseason, you have heroes that come up that you don't expect, and it's always the guys that, are good players, but not necessarily the best players on their team.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's awesome. He certainly seems to be reveling in it, and it's going to probably earn him a little bit of undeserved extra money. But
yep.
So be it.
Now, one last thing before you leave. The American League Championship Series, what do you see happening there?
You're talking to someone who said Blue Jays in 6, so I see the Blue Jays winning 4 games in a row. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess.
I think the Royals are going to have trouble if they don't win this game, because they go Chris Young in the next one, and then I think Ventura in 5. And I think that in that ballpark, to me, it's like the Blue Jays and the Cubs are both in okay situations because of their home field advantage. I think the Blue Jays have a huge home field advantage on Kansas City in the AL, and I think the Cubs have a huge home field advantage over the Mets in the National League. And I guess we'll see how it plays out. But I'm sticking with my predictions. I have to already wipe out my National League one. Yeah. I said Cubs in 5. But I will stick with my American League one.
I thought it would be Cubs and Blue Jays before the playoffs began. So it's not looking so great right now. But I think we both can comfortably say that despite being down 2-0 both teams, I don't think either series is over.
No. These are the Mets we're talking about.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, they got to take it to the limit. But, Mark, thank you for joining us. This was a great time being able to sit and go over some league championship memories that I know you cherish as well as I do.
Yep.
All right, bud. I'll see you soon.
Yep.
The wonderful thing about the League Championship Series and about baseball postseason in general is that you can interview 10 different people and get 10 different suggestions for what was the best League Championship Series. Great memories, great moments. Everybody has their own because of what of the effect that baseball has on people and the things that they remember. Vivid memories that people, only this person remembers this. about what happened and where they were during this memory. I remember Tito Landrum hitting a home run off of Britt Burns in the 1983 American League Championship Series between the White Sox and the Orioles. Not a great championship series, one that the Orioles won in 4 games, but I remember that particular home run that Landrum hit because if the Orioles were to win that game, my dad was going to get my mom curtains for the windows in the living room. I have no idea why. I don't remember anything that surrounded that. All I remember was the outcome and how happy my mother was at a game that she normally could care less about. Other memories I have include the 1982 Championship Series when Cecil Cooper got a big hit off of Luis Sanchez to win the game for the Brewers. I remember Cooper's jumping up and down and the Brewers being able to advance to the Championship Series. Like Mark and I talked about before, I remember Fred Lynn winning the MVP of that league championship series, even though the Angels lost. I remember seeing videos of the 1973 league championship series between the Athletics and the Baltimore Orioles, 2 great teams of the 70s. The Orioles were 6 outs from elimination in Game 4 of the championship series, and they rallied for 4 runs in the 7th and 1 run in the 8th to erase a 4-0 deficit to win that game and force a Game 5 that they eventually lost to Oakland. But nonetheless, a great memory and a great championship series. I remember in 1988, the championship series between the Mets and the Dodgers, that the Mets had the Dodgers, they were choking them, had them down 2-1. Mike Scioscia at the plate in the 9th inning with the Mets with a 4-2 lead. And Doc Gooden gives up the home run that allows the Dodgers to tie the game. And then the Dodgers wind up winning the series in 7 games thanks to Orel Hershiser shutout in Game 7. The unique thing about that series was Hershiser started Game 1 and got a no decision, I believe, as the Mets were able to rally and defeat the Dodgers in the 9th inning with Gary Carter getting the game-winning hit off of Jay Howell. Then the great thing about that series memory is, if you remember, in the 2015 League Division Series between the Mets and the Dodgers, Chase Utley getting thrown out, or Chase Utley being involved in a controversial decision where Joe Torre wound up suspending him for part of the series. In the 1988 League Championship Series, Jay Howell got suspended for a game because of a pine tar incident, having pine tar on his glove. Well, that Game 3, the Mets were trailing at the moment that Howell got tossed. They came back to win that Game 3. And then in Game 4, like I said, they were about to take a commanding 3-1 series lead when Gooden gave up the home run to Scioscia. And then the Dodgers wind up winning that series in 7 games. A great, great National League Championship Series where the Mets look like to have the big advantage in that series because they had won 10 of 11 games during the regular season. Other championship series that Mark and I did not mention that stick out as great memories for me, the 2003, I wouldn't say great memories in this case, but the 2003 National League Championship Series between the Cubs and the Marlins. Mark and I mentioned the 2003-2004 American League Championship Series between the Yankees and the Red Sox. In 2003, you actually had a chance where it looked like the Cubs and the Red Sox, 2 teams that were forever destined to never win another World Series, looked like they were going to play each other, as the Red Sox had a 4-1 lead going into the 8th inning of their Game 7, and the Cubs had a 3-1 series lead. Well, Cubs wound up losing Game 5 behind a great pitching performance by Josh Beckett of the Marlins before he became a Red Sox. And they still had a big advantage going back to Wrigley Field for Game 6 and 7 with Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood on the mound. Now, for those of you who don't remember Mark Pryor, he was a very dominant starter for the Cubs for about 3 years. And he had a great postseason before that, winning games in the division series against the Braves and winning in Game 2 of that series against the Marlins. Well, it looked like the Cubs were a shoo-in. And in Game 6, the Cubs have a 3-run lead, only 5 outs away from advancing to the World Series, when the famous Steve Bartman incident happens, and an at-bat by Luis Castillo. The left fielder, Moises Alou, is, as he tries to catch the ball, Bartman got his hand on it, deflected the ball out, and it extended the bat for Castillo. The thing that I always remember about that is the reaction of Moises Alou was so, in my mind, ridiculous, because here the Cubs still had a 3-run lead. There was one out. Castillo was a weak slap hitter, and I didn't understand why he got so angry. He was so animated when he was unable to catch that ball. And I think that mentally just really affected the Cubs. And then all of a sudden this state of panic went in, and then things started to fall apart. And before you knew it, the Cubs were losing 8-3. There was a Game 7 where it looked like, again, the Cubs were going to overcome the odds after losing Game 6 the way they did. Kerry Wood on the mound in Game 7, and he just was unable to put together a consistent performance. As the Cubs gave him a lead, then the Marlins came back and they took the lead, and then actually Kerry Wood hit a home run to give the Cubs the lead back. The Cubs wound up having a 2-run lead at one point in the 5th inning. Then Wood was unable to get outs, and once you got into that Cubs bullpen, it was no good for the Cubs. And then the Marlins had Josh Beckett to go to shut down that game, which they did. And the Marlins wound up advancing into the World Series, which is what this year's version of the Cubs, the 2015 Cubs, are trying to finally end that drought of not being to the World Series since 1945. So what I'm going to do now is just play a bunch of great postseason moments and memories. Everything from Endy Chavez's great catch in Game 6 of the 2007, in Game 7 of the 2006 League Championship Series between the Mets and the Cardinals, to George Brett. You're going to hear George Brett's name on there a lot, as I have a couple of memories of him and him hitting postseason home runs, League Championship Series home runs. Everything from that to Jeff Kent's walk-off home run to beat the Cardinals in Game 5 of the 2004 National League Championship Series, to Albert Pujols' home run off of Brad Lidge in the 2005 National League Championship Series. So sit back and relax as we go through just a bevy of postseason American League National League Championship Series memories.
Maddox is the batter. Gary swings. It's a base hit. Poole overruns it. Run scores from third, Unser, to give Philadelphia the lead 8-7 in the top of the 10th. Poole made a great try at it. He almost came up with it, then overran it a little bit. Maddox goes on in for second.
Left field, base hit, tying run. Moores comes to score. Gantner on his way to the plate, throw through. And the Milwaukee Brewers have taken the lead.
To deep right. And gone. Sonic boom. To deep left center field. Gibson going all the way back, and this one's gone.
The inside fastball by Strawberry hit a ton, and the same with McReynolds.
Socha at the plate. Hernandez playing back of the runner at first, and that's ripped to right field and deep. Strawberry goes back. She's gone. Mike Socha with 35 home runs in 8.5 years in the major leagues. And we talked about him throughout the series. Big and strong, but really a contact hitter. A man who doesn't strike out a lot and who doesn't hit very many home runs, averaging about 4 per season. It's the biggest of his career. Broken bat looper, shallow center field. In comes Shelby and makes the catch. And when you write the story of this game, where in the world do you begin?
In right field, Tarasco going back to the track, to the wall. And what happens here? He contends that a fan reaches up and touches it. But Richie Garcia says no, it's a home run. Here comes Davey Johnson out to argue as Jeter comes across to tie the game. Well, in postseason, You have an umpire down each line.
And he was there.
And Garcia was right there. The pitcher, Benitez, comes all the way out from the mound to argue.
But I don't know how he can tell from the mound.
I don't either, and I'll tell you one thing. That's great hustle. Great hustle by Richie Garcia.
Right.
The contention by Tarasco is that the ball is descending and the fan touches it. He's right. He's right.
Absolutely.
And here's a drive to left. It's mighty high. It's mighty far. And good night.
Beltran waits on a 2-2. Weaver delivers.
Hit in the air to deep right field. Forget it. That is long gone. Off the scoreboard in right field. A 2-run homer for Carlos Beltran. His first of this postseason. And the Mets have gone in front 2-0. A 2-run bomb by Beltran off Jeff Weaver. And Beltran picks up where he left off against the Cardinals in 2004. And Perez deals. Fastball hit in the air to left field. That's deep. Back goes Chavez back near the wall. Leaping, and he made the catch! He took a home run away from Roland. Trying to get back to first Edmonds. He's doubled off, and the inning is over. Andy Chavez saved the day. He reached high over the left field wall, right in front of the Mets in the visitors' bullpen, and pulled back a 2-run homer. He went to the apex of his leap and caught it in the webbing of his glove with his elbow up above the fence. A miraculous play by Andy Chavez, and then Edmonds is doubled off first, and Oliver Perez escapes the 6th inning.
He hits it in the air to left field. Back is Chavez. At the wall, this ball is gone. 2-run home run, Yadier Molina. And St. Louis takes a 3-1 9th inning Game 7 lead.
Bases loaded, 2 out. Cardinals leading 3-1 here in the bottom of the 9th inning. One of the most dangerous hitters in the business at the plate, Carlos Beltran. He is ready. So is Wainwright. The 0-2 delivery. Curve struck him out looking. The Cardinals are going to Michigan to take on the Tigers. They mob Adam Wainwright on the mound. They are National League champions and headed for Detroit.
2 outs, 9th inning. And the 1-1.
Sammy drives run. Get out the tape measure. Long gone. I don't believe it. Sammy Sosa ties the game 8-8. Sosa hit one to Waveland Avenue. The game is tied 8-8.
And the 3-1. Swung on a drill deep to right field. There it goes. See ya! Into the upper deck. David Justice with a 3-run home run. And the Yankees have come all the way back. They lead 6-4. Get your tokens ready. You might be boarding the subway. Oh, what a big home run for David Justice.
In the air to left. Down the line. This ball ends it. Nelson Cruz makes it a 7-3. Rangers win in Game 2, up 2-0.
We're tied at 1, bottom of the 9th. Swung on, hit high in the air to deep right center field. Back goes Ichiro on the track at the wall. She's gone. Alfonso Soriano wins the game with a 2-run home run over the right center field wall. The Yankees win 3-1, and they take a 3-1 lead in the American League Championship Series. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Winning run at second base. We're in the bottom of the 9th inning. In the air left field. The Tigers march to the World Series. 0-1 to Pujols. In the air left field, and Pujols has given St. Louis the lead. A dramatic, towering 3-run home run. Stunned in disbelief here in Houston. Edmonds hit 42 home runs during the regular season. And we are going to Game 7 in the National League Championship Series.
The count is 1-0. The pitch. Fastball. There she goes. It might be a big one. It's going. It's for the Tigers in a tremendous come-from-behind victory here this afternoon. Beat Oakland 4-3, and this series is tied at 2 games each. Holy cow!
Hit to right. Bass going back. It's gone.
Kent waits. In the air. We go to St. Louis with Houston in front 3-2.
One and two. The line. And a bench to bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. It's a man. He's done. The stretch. And the 1-1 pitch to McRae. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Bob Moose throws a wild pitch, and the Reds have won the National League pennant.
George Brett, the best hitter in the American League, has hit .362 with men on base throughout the year 1976. You couldn't have a better man up.
High drive, hit to right field. Home run. It's gone.
There it is.
The ball game is tied. Mark Littell delivers high drive, hits to right center field.
That's gone.
It is gone.
Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees.
That pitch is hit high in the air and deep to right. It is gone in the upper deck for Brett.
It's always nice to brief you folks in advance. Very thing we were talking about.
Brett hits it well again. Rivers turns his back, goes back. It is gone. Brett is 2 for 2. Okay, we'll have a look at it. George Brett hits it to right field. Is it 3 in a row? Yes! Incredible!
What a performance!
Set by Gossage, a high drive hit deep to right field. It is gone. 3-run home run by George Brett into the third tier of Yankee Stadium, and Brett has taken the Royals and put them in front. Here in the 7th inning. The Royals now lead it 4-2, and a stunned crowd here at Yankee Stadium in New York as Brett being patted on the back by Gordy McKenzie and the welcoming party at home plate as the Royals lead by a pair of runs.
A ball and a strike to Brett. Well hit deep right. If it stays there, the Royals are in front, and they are. Home run Brett. Alexander has to come to him in this situation. Wilson at first, nobody out. Well hit to left center. Back goes Mosby, along with Bell. Forget it. Home run Brett.
Third, Mays delivers. AK rips one into right field. Dustin Moore to the wall. It's gone. A home run for Adam Kennedy, and the Angels are on the board. There's a high drive. It's lifted out there into right center field. That ball's well hit. It's out of here. It's a home run, the second one for Adam Kennedy, and the Angels go on top. It's 3-2. Santana's 0-2 pitch is hit in the air into right center field. Back on the ball, Dustin Moore. He has homered 3 times. The Angels lead it 6-5.
Ripped into left field down the line for a base hit. Narron around third, coming in, and the Angels go up 3-1. To left field and deep and down he goes back, and it's gone. Unbelievable.
Deep right field, way back, Cotto going back to the wall. It's gone. Home run Garvey, and there will be tomorrow.
The Dodgers have the pennant at second base, and 2 out in the bottom of the 10th inning. Ron Cey is there. The 1-0 pitch is hit into center field for a base hit. Ron Cey being waved in. It's all over. The Jets by Maddox. The Dodgers win the pennant again.
2-1 delivery. Robin Ventura, the Mets win 4-3. There will be a game.
Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizards.
The tying and possible winning runs are in scoring position with 2 out and Jack Clark coming up. Meanwhile, in reading Lasorda talking about walk him and pitch to that blank Van Slyke. That's what he just muttered in the dugout. Do I walk him and pitch to that so-and-so? He's not going to walk him. It is Jack Clark and Tom Niedenfuhr going head-to-head, and the ball game on the line, and the crowd on its feet. One way or another, what a way to end. And he hits one to deep left field, and that one is gone. And Lasorda got the answer to his rhetorical question. Something about, should I walk this guy and pitch to that so-and-so? Well, he didn't walk him.
Francisco Cabrera comes to the plate to bat for the pitcher. He hacked at the 2-0, now the 2-1. Line drive and a base hit! Just as the score of the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe! Safe at the plate! The Braves go to the World Series! The unlikeliest of heroes wins the National League Championship Series for the Atlanta Braves. Francisco Cabrera. And Atlanta pulls out Game 7 with 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning.
As Boone hits it to deep left, that might send the Yankees to the World Series. Boone, a hero in Game 7.
So we close the book on another best of Major League Baseball postseason series, this being the League Championship Series. Thank you for joining us on Hit the Mark. We will look forward to seeing you next time. Again, check out ckmagicsports.com. Go to Knockout Cancer. Please donate if you can. Every cent makes a huge difference in my battle against the side effects of chemo and radiation. God bless. We will see you next time on Hit the Mark.
Remember to follow Mark on Facebook and Twitter at CK Magic Sports and subscribe to our podcasts on iTunes and on YouTube. To donate and support Mark and to find Mark on the web, visit ckmagicsports.com and click